take a moment, look at this. I'm so excited about it. The sleekest it's ever been, ever. I feel beautiful. I just keep looking in the mirror and I'm ready to just stroll the city, show it off. I feel amazing with my hair being this sleek. I really love BioStrand and you should definitely try it yourself. I think you'll be just as happy, if not more, with how I feel about it.
This is me, doing what I do best. I've spent years in clubs, the music, the lights, the atmosphere. I love it. And the thing about most places I go is, it doesn't matter who you are, straight, gay, it's just not an issue. But what would it be like if I went to a place where being gay was an issue that could get you killed?
I am quite nervous.
I wish I had the right. I would have killed them.
You think they should be killed because they're gay?
If you go down with homosexuality, with sin, and go to hell, you perish!
I'm just fighting what I'm feeling inside myself. Because I was born like this. Because I was born like this.
We have proposed a death penalty in this bill.
I should probably tell you at this point that I am actually a gay man.
In this film, I'm going to try and find out what it's like to be harassed, beaten, and to live in fear of your life, just because of your sexuality. And to do this, I'm going to go to one of the worst places in the world to be gay.
Welcome to IME News. Welcome to IME News. I'm Tony Coleman, your host. Today we're going to be highlighting the LGBTQ community. And we're going to be highlighting the act of hate against the person versus the hatred toward the act of the LGBT community. These two are very different things. But first, before we get into the biblical perspective, I want to show you a clip. Stay tuned.
But in other parts of the world, homosexuals are still hated and discriminated against.
In Africa, Sodom is an abomination, a taboo, and an evil.
A wave of intense homophobia is washing across Africa, where homosexuality is already illegal in 37 countries. It's being fueled by fundamentalist preachers, intolerant governments, and homophobic politicians. People are being tortured, raped, and imprisoned just for being gay, and in some cases, even facing the death penalty.
Homosexuals should be put to death.
Recently, gay rights groups have seen an increase in reported attacks across the continent, due in large part to a deluge of anti-gay propaganda, some of it more outrageous than others.
A man's anus is leaked like this by the other person, like ice cream. And then what happens, even poo-poo comes out. The other poo-poo's out, and then they eat the poo-poo.
I don't know where to begin with that. That's awful, and I've never seen anything like that in my life, and it's quite scary that he's allowed to do that.
It's in Uganda, though, where things are really hotting up. Homosexuality is already illegal, but a new bill's been proposed that'll seriously ramp up the punishments for being gay. Anyone convicted of having gay sex will be sentenced to life imprisonment, and if you have gay sex more than once, you can be executed. Ugandan activists say over 20 people have already been attacked because of the hysteria whipped up by this bill.
Here in Uganda, we don't want it.
But as many of you know, the entertainment field, the movie industry, the pornography industry shows much more than what you saw the preacher displaying. And this guy, which is actually gay, is not disgusted with the movie industry showing such issues. I'm going to show you some pictures of what's actually being played in the movies today. And you will rarely hear any homosexual at all be against these things. And you can watch them publicly right on the internet or go to a movie and watch such things. Watch these pictures and I'll be right back. As you can see in these pictures, you've got two men that are on the beach, and these two men are actually embracing one another. I have blurred out the pictures so you can't actually see the actual thing, so you can get an idea as to what the movie industry is showing. Now, the movie industry depicts women with women and men with men. They depict, they call them drag queens, transvestites, she-males, and transgendered. The movie industry shows these things, and they show some pretty graphic things that really nobody should be seeing, but these things should be behind closed doors. And one of the key issues is, why would a homosexual come out and say he's a homosexual when you know the repercussions from the public for such an act? That act will never be accepted among moral men, men who feel that it's wrong. Let me read a couple of scriptures for you. And it says, Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Let me show you a clip about the agreement and disagreement of people who agree and disagree with homosexuality.
I hate that in myself. I hate homosexual. Those people should be arrested.
And where would you put them?
Sorry?
Arrested and then what?
Then
In prison?
in prison, exactly.
So what do you think should happen to gay people? What should the government do with them?
They should put them in prison for life. Others should be killed. Everything bad should be done to those people.
You think they should be killed?
Yeah. A girl and a girl. It's quite disgusting, honestly. Yeah. It is. Or a man and a guy.
But you were approached to be gay?
Yes, I was asked to be gay and I refused. That's the truth. Just because I know that it's not acceptable. In Christ, it's not acceptable according to the Bible.
I wish I had the right. I would have killed them.
Killed them?
Yeah, it's unfair. How can you get married to your friend man?
Do you think they should be killed?
Yes. No, what do you think?
Okay, this place really is homophobic. Everyone's saying exactly the same thing. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it is. All this talk about killing homosexuals wasn't helping my nerves, but even here, there's still a few people who refuse to give in. I wanted to meet Giles Muhami, managing editor of the Rolling Stone. He'd been warned about a BBC crew in town and was very twitchy, but after numerous phone calls and waiting around, he agreed to meet us. Giles? Hello, Scott. How are you? Where do you get the information about the people that you decide to out in the newspaper?
We carried out an investigation for 1 year. We infiltrated their circles. We compiled information from ex-homosexuals. We have so far published about 29 pictures or so.
But is it right that those people have to live in fear now because of what you've printed?
They are telling lies.
So if your name was in the paper, are you telling me that you wouldn't be scared?
I wouldn't be scared.
Are you policing homosexuality?
We are not policing, but we are assisting police to do their work.
What gives you the right to do that?
Because as a newspaper, if you know there's evil here, you ignore the right of privacy and smoke out the people so that you can save lives. Homosexuality is very, very dangerous. It reduces one's lifespan by 24 years.
And that's a proven fact.
It's a proven fact.
The Rolling Stone is right behind the proposed anti-homosexuality bill. In particular, the clause saying that in some instances, they should be killed.
You're putting it on the front page of your newspaper that they're bad people and they should be hung.
You see, what they're doing is wrong. So whatever happens to them, the newspaper will never even feel any way bothered.
You don't care?
We do not care. Because what they're doing is not acceptable in society. It's not. We are exposing them. We know there is a cost, there is a price to pay for that. But in the long run, the public will benefit. And that's why the newspaper is there, to serve the interests of the public.
The Bible in Ephesians 5:11 says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them." It is almost virtually impossible for people to turn away from the LGBT lifestyle and to the lifestyle in which God promotes. Here is another clip of this man going into a radio station with another gay person, and they're having a controversy whether or not homosexual acts are acceptable or non-acceptable based upon biblical principles.
Across the country, radio stations have been fined or forced to close for hosting homosexual debates, which is why this debate, hosted by DJ Jimmy Pound, was such a big deal.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Please, show you.
Thank you very much.
Walking into the studio, I immediately felt at home. It was just like being in London getting ready to do my own Radio 1 show. Although this time, I had to take a back seat and let someone else take the lead.
Okay then, we're really going to be talking about something very sensitive, homosexuality. Now, my brother, you're activating for homosexuality. You're saying fine homosexuality, hip hip hooray.
Every person is talking about homosexuality. People know about it. Your callers will say, we know it. We've met homosexuals.
Let me ask you a question.
Right?
Does knowing it mean that it's right? Because they know it, does it make it right in any way?
What makes you think it's wrong?
What makes me... In the beginning, it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So really, I don't get it. Okay, yes, my mind might be misplaced at this point, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
Why are you so much against homosexuality? For example, why do you hate homosexuals?
Homosexuality in Africa came in as something like an alien would come.
Yes. What is inciting people to want to embrace homosexuality?
What is inciting people? Yes. What is inciting the LGBT activists?
Those girls are really winding me up. I kind of want to just grab the mic and go, listen! But I just want to hear what they've got to say. But it's really hard to just sit by and not talk. Especially with those girls, they're doing my head in.
God initially created man and woman, not man for man. Give us a call, 038-2271-891 and 0794-271-891. Hello?
No, you guys, is it mentioned anywhere that it's okay for man to have sex with a man?
It is not really.
So for me, there is no way you're going to convince me that it is okay to have sex with a fellow man. So for good sake, there is no way.
How does it happen?
So me, I can't concur with you in any way.
In the Western world, 2% to 13%. Assuming this thing has grown, because the way it has acquired.
When you talk about this thing growing?
This thing, because it's a thing to me, it's alien to me.
Yes.
It's like you're looking at in 50 years from now,
no, I'm looking at 10 years.
80% of the population will be gay.
That means there's
I'm not saying...
It's as though he wants it to be gay. Now listen, assuming 80% of the population in the world is gay, then I would give the world 100 years for it to be empty with no person.
I'm not saying.
Who would be giving birth, by the way?
Listen to me. I'm not saying. Let me tell you something.
You're breaking what Africa is.
Let me tell you something. I'm not breaking.
If we're fighting for Africa, we know.
Michael, this is getting personal. I'm not fighting.
If we're fighting for the Africa, we know.
I'm feeling inside myself because I was born like this. Because I was born like this.
Mugisha, you just
Let me
need
tell
to
you
calm
something.
down.
No,
You need-
he's hurting my...
After 2 hours of what I can only describe as a battering, it was all over for Frank.
Wow. How did you feel about that?
I'm pretty much disappointed by the level of homophobia that exists in this region. I think we do, sometimes I flatter myself and I think the journey is not so much, but I think the journey is so big. And I feel so bad that people have to be this homophobic. I mean, almost all the callers were like, kill them, arrest them, they are mad, they are dirty.
Now, some of the video clips that you have watched have truly shown some very violent attitudes with people toward the LGBT community. But as the biblical perspective, according to the book of Exodus, the 20th chapter, 13th verse, it says, "Thou shalt not kill." No man on earth has a right to kill a gay person just because he's gay. They have a right to live just like anybody else have a right to live. Now, you can hate the act of homosexuality, but you should be loving the person, because the person is still a human soul. And God never meant for us to kill one another.
People just think being gay is wrong, and not only just wrong, they hate them. They hate gay people, and you know, I've spoken to people on the streets who think they should be killed, and pretty much everybody thinks the same thing. And all the time they've got pastors and teachers telling them that this is the way it is and that it's wrong and that it shouldn't be, then nothing's going to change, which is depressing.
Because society does not accept God's law, they have decided to establish their own law when it comes to homosexuality. Thank you for watching IME News. I'm Tony Coleman. Have a wonderful day.